Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another amazing episode on your number one channel on Matters Bible Study, that is TTB with Pastor Nesh. Is also, as we say, it's the acronym for Through the Bible with Pastor Nesh. And it's our journey through the Bible. We are going through the Bible from the book of Genesis. We have already done the book of Genesis, and today we are starting from the book of Exodus. And one thing I was laughing about is that, the book of Genesis is like those movies, those Nigerian movies where the villain does all the work, and then within one chapter, then they die, even without suffering themselves. And so the book of Genesis ends, albeit abruptly, very abruptly, because in one chapter, within one chapter, Jacob is dead, and then Joseph dies, and then the book is over. But now we want to continue with the story. But now, from where we are starting to read the book of Exodus, we are starting to read now 400 years later. 400 years later, we see what is happening. And so we are going to the book of Exodus. But before we do, you know the drill. I have to ask you to subscribe. I love how we are growing, slowly but surely. I know there are challenges of doing such content as this, but we have grown steadily, and we thank God for that. So if you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button below this hand. Below my left hand, there is a button written subscribe. It is red. If it's red, you have not subscribed. But if it's gray, then thank you so much and God bless you. So that said and done, I need us to go to Exodus chapter number 1. And the Bible says from verse 1, now these are the names of the children of Israel which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan and Naphtali, Gad and Asher. And verses 5 says, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already. Verse number 6, and Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation. And the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty. And the land was filled with them. That is the land of Egypt now. Verses number 8. Now there arose a new king over Egypt, that which knew not Joseph. And he said unto his people, behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when there falleth out any war, they join also unto our enemies, and fight against us, and so get them out of the land. Verse number 11. Therefore they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. Verses 12. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved because of the children of Israel. Verse number 13. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor. Verses 14. And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor. Verses 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other was Puah. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. Verse 17. But the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the men, children alive. Verses 18, and the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men, children alive? Verses 19, and the midwives said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come and in unto them. Verses 20, therefore God dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, that is verse 21, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. Verses 22, which is the last verse of this chapter 1 of Exodus, and Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive. So that is how the book of Exodus opens up. It tells us of how Joseph and all that generation of Joseph died. You know, his brothers, everybody that was in the family, the people that came from Canaan with Jacob, they moved into Egypt, and how they died, and so that generation passed. As I was saying, this is now 400 years after Jacob came into Egypt, and we are in that season. It's about 400 years or more or less, and so there arose another king that did not know about Joseph. And when we say that did not know about Joseph, maybe he know, but he did not regard what Joseph had done for Egypt. He, as generations come and go, people start trivializing what other people before them did, and they start looking at it as if it was nothing. Like today in Kenya, we have freedom fighters, and you can hear the youths saying they don't know what they did for them. They don't know what the Mau Mau fighters, how they fought. They don't even care, They don't care how they died, because they were not there. There is no experience. They did not experience that hardship. And so this king that came, these are generations, 400 years, even if a person was living 100 years each. So it can show you that we have already 4 kings that are passed over that time. So this is like the 4th, 5th king that has come after Jacob came into Egypt. And so this king is one of those youths that we have right now that say, we don't care what that guy did. I don't care what that person said. So whatever they dealt with my forefathers, my great-great-grandfather, that is their business. But these people are not supposed to be here. And as I said when we were finishing the book of Genesis, is that the children of Israel came to Egypt and settled. This was not supposed to be a place of their settling. It was supposed to be a place where they came just to transition. After the drought is done, then they move out. They go back to Canaan. But these guys came and settled. And we say that Egypt is a picture or a pictorial of the world. Jesus said, or the Bible tells us that we are in the world, but not of the world. Jesus said that I've set you out like sheep amongst the wolf. And so we are supposed to know that we are in the world, but not of the world. This is the problem that arises when now the world starts accepting you, and then you start being comfortable with the world. And so the children of Israel started becoming comfortable with the life of Egypt, and they started behaving like the Egyptians. They started thinking like this is now our home. And after 400 years, it is possible even that the children that were born there, they did not even know Canaan. They did not even know the way to Canaan. They did not know the way that their fathers came. So it's like being born in Nairobi and being raised in Nairobi. You don't know where your village is. You don't know. You know Nairobi as your village. So these guys are in Egypt, and they have lived here for 400 years. So now they feel like this place belongs to them. But something is about to happen that will remind them that you are just but visitors in this place. And that is what happens, that the Pharaoh says that now we must start dealing with these people, and we must look for a way to stop them from multiplying, because the Bible says that they were multiplying a lot. And so he talks to the midwives. One of them is called Shifra, and the other one is called Pua. And I don't know why only two midwives were working for the whole of the Israelite nation, but these two women were doing great job. And so he told them that when they give birth to a son, you kill the son, and when they give birth to a daughter, you let the daughter live. This is because the son is the one that carries the seed. The son is the one that carries the seed. So in essence, he was saying that we need to kill the seed before it is put. Is put in the field. The woman is the field, while the son is the seed. So when the son is killed, the field doesn't need to be killed. You don't need to kill the field. All you need is to kill the seed. And so he was saying, let us kill the seed before it is planted into the field, and then we shall have dealt with this problem. But these women, the Bible says that they feared God, and so they decided, we are not going to do it. And the Bible says that God dealt with them very well. And there's something that the Bible says in verses 21. It says that God made houses for them. This means that God created an empire for these two women, and that is why they are even mentioned in the Bible. I said some time back that it is very hard to see a woman being mentioned in the Bible, but these are mentioned because of the role they played in Egypt and how God made an empire for them. And so after Pharaoh saw that this is not happening, so he decided that I'll kill the boys anyway. So he said unto his people that when a son is born, they will be thrown into river Nile. And when the daughter is born, you can see the daughter is always preserved. The daughter is always preserved. Even today in our world, you will hear about girl power, empowering the girl child, empowering or doing all this stuff. But you will never, it's very rare to hear a person who is saying, I want to empower the boy child, because the boy child, the devil knows that the boy child is the one that carries the seed. And so if the seed is not taken care of, then you don't, the fields, which are the ladies, the fields, which are the girls, they don't really matter. This is why you see even things like homosexuality that is coming, because they want to pair women and women, boys and boys, because when a boy is paired with a boy, there is no production, there is no reproduction, so there is no planting of the seed. That's another way of killing the seed. When a girl is paired with another girl, it's the killing of the seed, because there is when a land is paired with another land, a land cannot germinate in another land. But now when boys come in and paired with the ladies, then we get the seed planted in the field, and there is germination, there is reproduction. And so all these things, every now and then, the devil will try to kill. The devil will try to kill the son. Another thing, as I finish this part and see if we are going to Exodus chapter number 2, is that the devil has always, because there was a prophecy in Genesis chapter number 4, chapter number 3, there is a prophecy that there will be a seed that will come and it will destroy the devil. That is what was prophesied in Genesis chapter number 3 and verses 16, that the seed of the woman will destroy the devil. The Bible says that the devil was told that you shall step on the head, the seed will step on the head of the serpent, and the serpent will bite the heel of the seed. So there is this battle of the seed. So the devil is always trying to fight the seed. The devil is always trying to fight the seed. And so now, and God is always bringing up the seed. And right now, there's a seed that is coming up called Moses. And Moses is a son. And so the devil is trying to kill this seed. So every time a seed is coming up, you will see a story like this of the devil trying to kill the sons. That is why even in Matthew, when Jesus was about to be born, Herod said that the children or the boy child must be killed, because there is this battle between the devil and the seed. Since Genesis chapter number 3 and verses 16. And so we proceed now. We go let me pause there. As I said, these episodes must be short, and so with the shortness of them, I need to go to Exodus chapter number 2. Exodus chapter number 2 and verses 1, the Bible says, "And there went a man out of the house of Levi, and took a wife, a daughter of Levi, and the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months." Verse number 3, "And when she could not longer hide him, she took him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags of the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him." Verse number 5, "And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along the river's sides. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it." Verse number 6, "And when she had opened it, and she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him, and said, This is one of the Hebrews' children." And verse 7, "Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee?" Verse number 8, "And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Go. And the maid went and said, and called the child's mother." And verse number 9, "And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, Because I drew him out of the water." Verse number 11, "And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens. And he spied an Egyptian smiting an Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian, and hid him in the sand." 13, "And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, Wherefore smitest thou thy Pharaoh? And verses 14, "And he said, Who made thee a prince and a judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killedest the Egyptian?" And Moses feared and said, Surely this thing is known. Verses number 15, "And when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh, and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well." Verses 16, "Now the priest of Midian had 7 daughters, and they came and drew water, and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. And the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to Ruel their father, he said, How is it that ye are come so soon today? And they said, An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and also drew water enough for us, and watered the flock. And he said unto his daughters, And where is he? Why is it that ye have left the man? Call him, that he may eat bread. Verses 21, "And Moses was content to dwell with the man, and he gave Moses Zipporah his daughter, and she bare him a son, and he called his name Gershom. For he said, I have been a stranger and in a strange land. Verses 23, and it came to pass in the process of time that the king of Egypt died, and the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage. And they cried, and their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage. Verses 24, and God heard their groaning, and God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob. Verses 25, which is the last verse of this chapter. And God looked upon the children of Israel, and God had respect unto them. Now, Genesis chapter number 2 introduces us to the man called Moses. The seed that I've said that the devil was trying so hard to fight by killing all the boys. But Moses is born, and his mother looks at him, and he's a lovely boy, he's a lovely child, and she says, I won't let them kill this one. And so she makes an ark for Moses and puts him there, and then puts him in the river. And then one thing I want us to note is that when the daughter of Pharaoh came down, she took the baby but did not go with the baby to the palace. She gave the baby back to the mother. So Moses was not actually, the younger years of Moses were not in the palace. He was in the camp of the Israelites. So the mother must have taught him and told him, you are not an Egyptian, but you are adopted by this man, by this woman. And then I believe also, most of the movies that we watch, it looked as they predict a picture, or they paint for us a picture where it's as if Moses did not actually know he was an Israelite. But I believe if these people were bringing Moses up, they must have told him, you are not an Egyptian, you are an Israelite, but you are living there. And at some point, maybe even the mother revealed herself to the boy and said, I am your mother actually, but this is a plan we have made to save your life, and now you are the son of the daughter of Pharaoh, and so on and so forth. And so when Moses grows up, and one day he sees an Egyptian beating up an Israelite, he rises to the occasion to save his brother, and by so doing he kills that man and he buries him. I said when we were looking at the blessings that Jacob left for his children, one of the blessings he left for Simeon and Levi is that he said they have anger issues. They have anger issues. And we have said that Moses was born in the lineage of Levi or Levi. I say that depends whether you pronounce it as Levi or Levi, depends on where you went to school. So Moses is in the lineage of this Levi and Simeon. So because he's born into the house of Levi, and so he has this anger issue still running through the family, and we shall see it manifesting every now and then in the book of Exodus. We are going even to Numbers and Deuteronomy. We shall see it manifest here and there, the anger issues, because we say that the book of Genesis is about seed, is about the seed of God, and now we are starting to see it germinate. We are starting to see how much it becomes fruitful. And so here we are now. Moses runs away when he discovers that whatever he did in secret is known. He said, surely this thing is known. And so he ran off and went to Midian, and there in Midian he met a man and lived with his family. And in the process of living, the man even gave him his daughter, and he married, and they got two sons. One of them is called Gershom. And so because he said, I have been a stranger. And you see, God has this way of, again, making people meet at the well. I said we need to study the well, because the well is where most people met. And I said that most of the time people were meeting at the well because it was the public place. And so they met at the well. He helped them. And then here again we see Moses. And now as we finish, we are told that now the Pharaoh died. The Pharaoh that Moses left behind died, and another one came up. But the one that came up again did not lessen the burden on the children of Israel, but instead he made it even worse. And so the children of Israel started crying to God. They started asking God for deliverance. And the Bible says that God remembered his covenant with Moses, with Isaac, and with Jacob. And we are about to see Moses being sent back to Egypt to save the children of Israel. And so with that said and done, I think it's good to start this first episode of the book of Exodus there. And I say, shalom, keep the faith. May God bless you. May God keep you. May God lift you higher than I am. And keep the faith. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have been blessed and you are continuing to be blessed with everything that we are doing and how we are taking the journey. We started from Genesis, and we are Genesis chapter number 1, and we are continuing all the way. And every single day we will be uploading a reading, and we want to read through the Bible, not just reading, but we want to study the Bible, to know the Bible, and to know the words they are in, because that is the power. It's not just about knowing the words in the Bible, but having them manifest in our lives. And if you have been blessed by this ministry, you can also bless this ministry by giving, and the giving details have been popping throughout the broadcast, and they are also written at the description part of this video. And then also do not forget to subscribe. Subscribing, as I say and I keep saying, is that clicking that red button on this side below my hand here. There is a button, a red button. Click it and make sure it turns gray. That is subscription. If you're still red, you have not yet subscribed. May God bless you. May God keep you. And may God lift you higher than I am. Shalom, and keep the faith as always. This is Pastor Nesh.